Welcome back to the Weekly News Roundup. I hope you guys are doing well. Of course, you can watch the show live Fridays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. whatever time it is in New York, which I just got word on the comments is flooding right now. So sorry to all you guys in New York. But with that, we'll go ahead and get started in here on our news. No other regular announcements. Oh, no, one more regular announcement. There will not be a video tomorrow. It's been a crazy week. Visited 2 big national parks. Had a great time. Got a lot of client work done, but just didn't get the chance to put out a secondary video. I got it started. I just didn't get it finished. Anyway, so with that, let's go ahead and get diving on into the news. First up, Reddit is forcing personalized ads, starting the X-like user payment program. I think that part's maybe like sensationalism, but basically with Reddit forcing personalized ads, this means that Reddit is collecting more data behind the scenes that you don't have any real way to opt out of. And so this is like one more of those nails in the coffin of Reddit's slow demise as it's doing weird things with its moderation team. I even went to some Reddit threads last night that were allegedly new, but they were already banned. So go figure. Now they think that personalized ads is going to give them more revenue, and so they're really pushing for that. I actually think it'll be worse. Frankly, people get mad when you follow them around the internet. They don't get mad if you show them something relevant to the content of the page. So just have a good system. If you're on like Reddit, am I the A or something? Just have ads for toilet paper. I mean, you're talking about similar stuff, right? But you want to have ads that are related to the content of the site. That's what's going to drive a lot more, because if I'm on the website, I'm probably interested in the content. This isn't like brainless television where I'm just like, I'm just too lazy to change the channel. And so the big tech company feeds what it thinks I want to see. Well, when Reddit starts doing this, it's probably going to irritate more people and drive more people to use an ad blocker. And then they're going to fight back by putting in the anti-ad blocker stuff. And then people are going to be like, oh, screw it, and be done with Reddit. So that's interesting. Just to note, run your ad blockers and prevent their data collection. And if we start seeing a Reddit tracking pixel, I'll let everybody know how to block it on your network. With that, let me know your thoughts on that. Do you like Reddit or not? Let me know in the comments down below. Well, this is a terrifying one out of Canada, but it's even more terrifying that the root cause of this was an application used all over the world. Isn't this great? Child health data stolen in registry breach. So up there in Canada, they have the BORN program, the Better Outcomes in Registry Network. Doesn't that just sound like a United States law or something, like, the Cool Act or something, I don't know. But the Better Outcomes Registry and Network, they're seeking to have a better outcome by creating a large and extensive database on every human being born in Canada with no opt-out. Yeah, that's terrifying. Let that sink in for a brief moment. The government is keeping a registry. Now, allegedly, the government of the United States is keeping a registry. Allegedly, everybody since like the 70s or something, they've poked their knee or their heel to get a DNA sample, and those are frozen somewhere. I don't know if that's true or tinfoil hatty. Can't say I've examined it enough in detail to know for sure. If you have some legitimate articles verifying or disverifying that, please let me know. But Canada has done this. This is specifically in Ontario. Ontario Prenatal and Child Registry that collects, interprets, shares, and protects. Okay, think about this. Okay, we're going to collect. We're going to interpret. Okay, it's going to both share and protect. I think some wires are crossed. We're going to share and protect the data. Those are mutually exclusive. I can't protect the data if I'm sharing it, and I can't share the data if I'm protecting it, just so you know. But what they say happened is, of course, all this data is collected, and you got to move it around the internet. So there's this software application called Progress Move It, which there was a vulnerability in Move It that leaked all of the data out online. The problem is that around the world, 900 colleges and schools across the United States fell victim to the same ransomware gang using MoveIt to transfer files. So it wasn't that BORN itself was breached. It was that the software used to move the data is breached. And this is why the best protocol is to not allow the data to be collected at all. That is ultimately the goal. Do not collect the data, and we don't have a way for it to leak. But you sit there, well, we collect your data, we store it with the best military-grade encryption. Have you seen our military? They're kind of incompetent. I don't really care about their grade of encryption, all right? But that being said, it's just better to not store data at all. If you want to have any form of data, offline, paper, things like that. On to our final privacy. There is a startup that wants to verify your ID without storing your personal data. This has kind of like been suggested as an alternative to ID.me, which the IRS was going to force everybody to use to create an IRS account. Of course, the IRS stops answering the phone, so you have to interact with them on the internet. But then to interact with them on the internet, you are forced to agree to the terms of service of a unscrupulous company that has some serious problems. You can refer to my last week's tinfoil hat time if you have not seen that. And we talk all about being forced to agree to things to simply live in society. But in this case here, what Share ID as a company says is an authentication as a service solution tied to government issue IDs. So the idea is that they create the ID by doing a hash where you have to hold up your government issued ID front and back for 3 seconds, and then having a live web camera, you have to do the things that it says. Follow the thing around with your eyes. You have to look this way, look that way. Cough left, cough right, gentlemen. And so with that, they're saying that once they do all of this stuff, nothing is ever stored, but what they do is they store a hash. And then what they're going to do then is allege that the hash is going to be used to verify your ID. Now, it's not clear to me how exactly this verifies my ID in the future. Do I have to do this every single time and it compares the hashes? What happens when I create my account right now as Fluffy Face Tomm, and then tomorrow I go and try and use that same verification with Baby Butt Face Tomm? And, I shave it. Is it going to recognize it? What happens if I happen to be a person of color? Ooh, it's using biometrics and facial recognition in order to verify the IDs. Is this going to fall victim to the same issue that the rest of the facial recognition software is? So I have some serious questions about it. But now we have to raise this question. Is a hash of your face the same thing as your face itself? This was a question that was really addressed when Apple tried to push the CSAM stuff on everybody's devices. Well, it wasn't looking at your device to see if you had this bad illegal material. It was looking at the hashes of your material and comparing hashes. And people demonstrated that it was very possible to create an identical hash with 2 completely separate photographs. And so it raises a question. If we're using hashtags to verify, is this really as good and secure and bulletproof as they're suggesting? So I don't know. I have a lot of questions about this, but at least somebody's trying to think about having to do some ID verification without storing any data. But still, I think it's just better if we just don't have these services at all. They're trying to ask us to hold up our government issued IDs to an insecure smartphone to some weird guy who is probably making 500 times more on the side selling fake IDs, or selling your ID to some criminal than he's making from the company paying him, a few pennies as a contractor to do whatever he's doing. I mean, see the Proctor U crap. So there is our thoughts on that. If you want to help support the channel, we do use affiliates. Today we're highlighting ProWritingAid. I use this as an AI test on my writing grammar and things like that. As I'm writing my books and my stories, I go ahead and run things through ProWritingAid as well. You can use my coupon code here, TLM.li/PWA. This is going to give you a 20% discount on the yearly billing, and I think off of also the lifetime. There's no discount on the monthly billing, but any one of those 3 plans will help support the channel. TLM.li/PWA. ProWritingAid has always been a privacy first company. They do not have any interest in collecting, storing, or using your data. With that, let's move on over to security news. First up in security, it's another day, yet another T-Mobile breach. So I am now really pondering, is T-Mobile going to become a bigger breach target than WordPress? They're really working hard at figuring out who can be breached more. And this is particularly sad to me because T-Mobile did officially buy Mint Mobile, which we still do use myself on my phone. It is still an affiliate. I'm not going to pull it off at any point in time because Mint Mobile still allows you to create an account anonymously and pay with it anonymously, at least here in the United States. And so I'm okay with that. And if you have your Mint Mobile account set up the way my Mint Mobile account is set up, if the data leaks, it doesn't really matter. They get a throwaway email address and a fake name. But with T-Mobile, they had another breach. Now, this was not a cybersecurity issue. They were very clear. This was just them being an idiot when they were doing overnight maintenance, and they accidentally leaked fewer than 100 customers. But they say there was no cyber attack or breach at T-Mobile. It was a temporary system glitch related to planned overnight technology update involving limited account information for fewer than 100 customers, which we resolved quickly. Yeah, this is what happens when you put in diversity hires instead of people hiring on a meritocracy. But there's some stuff about this. So here's your regular stuff about data breaches. Oh, make sure you enable two-factor authentication. Yeah, it doesn't work. All sorts of fun stuff. But another T-Mobile data breach. How exciting. This one's exciting. I decided to put this one in because it is another Android malware that is targeting banking applications that is making its way back into the United States. There's a few different places this is coming from. So the new campaign is targeting United States, Canada, Spain, Italy, Portugal, and Belgium. This is going to be a backdoor malware. So this one is being deployed on your device by warning about a Chrome browser needing to update. So if you get a notice, a pop-up on your phone that your Chrome browser needs to be updated, and you click that button, it's updating a Chrome browser that is a malicious APK. It will possibly overwrite your Chrome browser. It may very well install a new Chrome. I don't know. But what it will install with it is it installs a backdoor that has some Trojans into several banking systems, and it is being targeted on the countries I aforementioned. So be aware that for the most part, your phone is never going to give you a pop-up that X app needs updated. For most of you, if you've not gone on to the more enlightened ways of installing apps, you're going to be doing all of your updates through the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. If you are enlightened and you have F-Droid installed on your device or the Aurora Store or something else, that thing is going to manage your updates. Very, very rare would an app give you a pop-up that it needs to update. I guess it is theoretically possible, but I wouldn't trust an app that does so. So just be aware of that. Do not click to install any apps needing an update. It's probably malicious. This one was hilarious. Potential SillyVille stuff, but definitely better security. So Darkbeam sounds like a hacker group. Well, it's actually not a hacker group. Darkbeam, believe it or not, is supposedly a good guy. These guys are some data security guys, and the data security guys, they have been collecting piles and 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 piles of username and password information just to verify and alert people in the event they see a leak or a breach. Probably something like have I been pawned type approach. That's what they're trying to do. So they are a supposedly legitimate company. They have been collecting all of this stuff, billions of records, and they had a data breach, and somebody got in there and leaked out billions and billions of email and password combinations. So if you're using any form of big tech email, you might think about changing your passwords. That sounds so exciting. I'm going back to that first article we talked about with the Bourne Act, right? If you don't collect the data, it's not there to breach. Just saying. And we've talked in the past about the Malvertizing campaigns. To refresh you, if you have forgotten, a Malvertizing campaign is when a malicious actor takes advantage of the advertising platforms. In this case, it's Microsoft's. Traditionally, it has been Google or even Facebook's. And they are running ads, literally paying that company money and running a malicious campaign, and when you click on that malicious campaign, you're downloading some form of malware. I'm wondering if this was related to the one client of mine. We had the Facebook breach that I had talked about. I can't remember if it was on the news or on the Thursday show. But just to tell you, they actually resolved that for us pretty quick. We do not know how. We have MFA set up on the accounts. I'm usually the only one who has regular access to the Facebook, and it's completely blocked on my network. I only use it on one totally secured browser, and I do the Facebook work and leave. I don't go anywhere else on the thing. Well, we had noticed that somebody had got into the account as an admin. Now, the user account I have isn't even an admin for the account. This guy got in there, hacked his way into being an admin, and he ran $1,500 of ads. And I'm guessing it was probably a malware campaign, is my guess. Now, we shut all that down, and, I don't think any ads at all were delivered from our account because of other protocols I took in place. But that's kind of how it works. And I think that a lot of these guys, it's just the hackers taking advantage of somebody else's accounts and then creating all of the ads. Well, the Malvertizing campaign is back, and now it is being done on Bing's AI. Because if you remember, I can't remember if we did it on the news or not. I think I might have thrown it out. But Bing's AI chatbot, the OpenAI's GPT-4, is the Bing chat. Microsoft, since they're Microsoft, they decided to start cramming ads into that too. Well, the ads have been Malvertizing campaigns. So here you go. You can download Advanced IP Scanner from their official website. Discover network devices and things. And, mynetworkfull.cfd. Yeah, that sounds legit. That's the malicious ad. So here you go. So we are actually seeing some malvertising coming up in the ads that Microsoft is pushing to all of the people using ChatGPT. Isn't that wonderful? And of course, they want us to block us from using our ad blockers. Yeah, there's a good reason to use the ad blockers. It's not that we don't want to get your ad money. It's that we do not want to have our computers hacked by your insanity. Well, if you want to help support the channel, we do have a Patreon page, patreon.com/TOMM. You can join us on over there. Currently, the Patreon members are getting, you can participate in the Thursday show and the Thursday hangout after the show is over. We have a lot of fun over there. We are doing once a month Patreon exclusive short stories in print and audiobook versions, so you can jump on and get those as well. And I will do a video once a month kind of explaining the logic, rationale, and things behind that story a few weeks after it's out, which, sorry guys, I did not get a chance to get that uploaded. It's recorded. I just didn't get a chance to get it uploaded. I'll try and get it done by the end of the weekend. But you can jump on over there on patreon.com/TOMM if you would like to help support the show. And with that, let's move on over to AI news. First up, this guy over here is trying to say this with a straight face. In fact, his quote even says, honestly, and I can really say this with a straight face, we create jobs. He says, nobody has lost their job because of what we do. This is the CEO of a film industry AI tool. His logic and rationale, well, AI can't write a good joke. The problem is that AI does actually replace a lot of jobs, including the writing industry. In fact, a lot of people in the writing industry are being displaced by this, and it's becoming, in the writing industry, AI is becoming so problematic that it's causing publishers to have to limit submissions. It's causing just all sorts of atrocious nonsense to come on down the pipeline. Now, this is specifically an AI company that's trying to take all the jobs of those Hollywood strikers. I'm probably not allowed to say that over here, am I? I don't know. We haven't taken anyone's jobs. We're just trying to undercut the people striking who want to write. But we want to write AI to help them write. Of course, the rationale, as I as I was teaching at the writers conference a couple months ago, and we had a guy in there with ChatGPT. He's like, you got to use it responsible. This is how you do it. It's like, okay, that's wonderful. That was a very idealistic speech, but the average person is not interested in doing that. They're saying, wow, this thing can spit out 1,000 words. The copy paste done. I can go sip my latte now. All right. So that's the problem. So yes, this company has definitely taken jobs. It will take more jobs. Granted, I do agree with his premise that, yeah, the AI can't write jokes as much. It can't see some of the subtleties as much. But, you know, you might have fewer people working in the industry, but still the AI is going to replace a lot of your junior writers. And then eventually we're going to get to the point where we won't even have a need for junior writers anymore. Very interesting. Google Bard is in the news also. Google Bard's conversations are turning up in search results. So all of those late night conversations you thought you were having privately with Google Bard, yeah, many of them are leaking on the internet. Now, Google says this is a bug and they're looking into it. That's granted. And it's not every conversation. You had to have shared your conversation. So after you have poured out your soul to digital Google, which is terrifying. Once again, if you've not watched it lately, I'm going to remind you, this is your monthly reminder. Go watch The Selfish Ledger. Okay. Go watch The Selfish Ledger. This is part of Google's plan to collect the data. All right. You've spilled out your soul to digital Google. And then at the end of it, you're like, wow, that was such a wonderful conversation. I'm going to share it with all my friends. And you click the share button. Clicking that share button is uploading that into apparently the public repositories. And so Google is now getting indexing these. And now Google had responded and said, yeah, that's actually not supposed to happen. So they're working on it. They say sharing chats with search was an accident. We're currently working on a fix. Bard allows people to share chats if they choose. We also don't intend for these shared chats to be indexed by Google Search. We're working on blocking them from being indexed now. Good. And Bard comes down and says, you can't do that, Dave. So there you have it. And on to our last article in AI news. Your website can now opt out of training Google's Bard and future AIs. So if you happen to run a website and you're like, I really do not want Google indexing stuff on my site and utilizing it for AI, you can now actively add this to your robots.txt file. And I'm debating, do I want to add this to my robots.txt files on my sites? Or would I rather Google AI go through and index all my stuff and use it? I don't know. I mean, it's on the internet. It's kind of public information. What do I care? You know, if the word gets out, whether it's Google's evil AI doing it or me preaching it from the crazy hobo van here, what does it matter? You know, I don't know. Let me know, guys. Should I block Google's AI from all my various site properties, or should I not and say I'm putting it on the internet anyway? Who cares? Let me know what you think. I don't know. There's pros and cons. For those that are interested, you can add user agent Google-extended to your robots.txt file. If you're unfamiliar with the robots.txt file, this is a file that is in the root directory of your web server. And this file provides instructions for scrapers. So Googlebot goes in there, it sees the robots.txt, and you might give a specific instruction. Hey, only index once a month. You might say index it once a day. You might give it some specific things. Well, if you add the user agent Google extended to yours, then it will not use your website for training. Now, the big problem I have with this is that this is an opt-out, not an opt-in. So if I am a web developer and I am ignorant of this principle, and I do not know, I am allowing Google now to index my site, even if I have an disclaimer stating it is unlawful to index my site for training AI because it's not in the robots.txt file. So that is a case that we have to parse out what in the world is going on. Well, if you want to help support the channel, we do have a Switch to Linux shop. You can pick up a t-shirt or a hoodie or a hat or a coffee cup. Well, my coffee cup's up front, but my hat's on my head. Ooh, look at that. You can pick up various hats with the alien and the tinfoil hat. We also have the RMRF No Preserve Root Code of Conduct. We will have Switch to Linux, you fool. We have cats and tinfoil hats. All sorts of fun stuff. So we have shirts, we have mouse pads, we have coffee cups, bags, all sorts of things. So you can go find all those at shop.switchtolinux.com. And now we're going to have a look at business news. First up in business news, well, everybody that is using Amazon Prime, you're going to have to start paying an extra $3 or endure ads. They are adding ads to the Prime Video in 2024 unless you pay an extra $2.99. So ad-free Prime Video will start at $11.98 per month. So Apple TV is $6.99. Disney Plus is $13.99 starting on October 12th. Netflix $15, Hulu $17, Paramount $11, and Peacock $11. Mostly .99s. So Amazon is making this to, quote, continue investing in compelling content and keep the increasing that investment over a long period of time. Translation, we are being investigated for our bad practices of forcing Prime on people, and we have to find a way to maintain the revenue after we are forced by the FTC to turn this stuff off. That's what I think is probably going on. Of course, as I said, if I absolutely 100% had to have a streaming service, I'd probably use Amazon Prime simply because it comes with the added benefits of faster shipping and music and other things like that. That being said, I'm sorry, I'm not interested in any of these streaming services. Please check my channel for my Jellyfin tutorial and do that instead. And so, yeah, you guys, you're either going to have to fork out more money, deal with ads, but, you know. We have the latest Google graveyard, the Google undertakers out back digging 3 more graves. So we have a few new things. First is Google Podcasts. I'm going to have to go and update my website again, because, you know, the Google Podcasts link is going to disappear, I guess. We'll have to see, but that's going over to the YouTube podcast. I'm not sure how these are going to translate. I have no earthly idea. You can watch my Christian podcast over on Google Podcasts. Listen to. It's just a feed. So I have no idea what's going on with this. We'll have to see. But anyway, the whole idea of Google podcasting is going to die. So they took that one back behind the barn. And the next is YouTube Premium Lite heads into the darkness. Staying with Team YouTube, the next door Google's Grim Reaper is knocking on belongs to YouTube Premium Lite. While YouTube Premium gives you access to ad-free YouTube and music, the Lite version was a European-only budget plan that cut the feature set down to only ad-free YouTube videos, €6.99 per month. So they're getting rid of that. So if you're over there in Belgium, Denmark, Finland, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Norway, or Sweden, you'll have to find something else. And Gmail's basic HTML client has been archived, so that one was already dragged to the back of the barn and buried back in the graveyard. So this is a basic HTML-only client. It did not have any of the JavaScript nonsense being jammed in everywhere else. The idea here is if you happen to load up your Gmail and something didn't work, then the system would fall back on the old HTML, basic HTML version, allowing you to use Gmail without all of the JavaScript nonsense that, you know, half of it's probably malicious, if not by hacking, then by supply chain breaches. I threw a few of those stories out this week, but there were a few of them. So there you have it. No more basic Gmail HTML. So there is that. So a couple more gravestones back there in the Google service graveyard. So don't rely on these guys for everything. They tend to kill stuff. Well, the FCC announces plans to reinstate net neutrality. That could be interesting news. So, of course, we fought net neutrality a while back, and then Asia shut your pie hole over there in the FCC just put a final nail in the coffin. And, of course, if you guys don't remember that cringe video, the day after he did this, 2 years before any of this stuff would be put into effect, he's over there, guess what you can still do? You can buy stuff. You can do it. It's like, if you guys don't remember that cringy video, you got to watch the Asia Pie net neutrality. You can still do this on the internet video. It is peak cringe from probably the cringiest person we saw in the government until anybody in the Biden administration took over. Not that I'm anti-Biden administration. It's just, look at this cloud of this group of motley fools. I'm going to cut some of that, I think, out of the edited version. Y'all guys watching this live got a treat. All right. But net neutrality is coming back. So the ruling about this centered on that one hinge argument. Is this a common necessity, or is the internet a luxury? If the internet is a luxury, it makes sense to eliminate net neutrality. But more and more, the internet is a necessity to live in our life. Because it is a necessity, it has to be considered a common carrier, like electricity, like your water, like your basic utilities. And that's really at the crux of it. So the new FCC chairperson is bringing back the rules that were proposed and established under Tomm Wheeler. So that's actually good news. And yes, there have been negative consequences. If you are unaware of that, look for the fact that your Verizon plan has to charge you an extra $10 to be able to share your phone's hotspot. Net neutrality is what allows them to do that. Okay, so bringing that back means that I'm buying my phone, my data is my data, you can't restrict what I do to it. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with that. And finally, in the business section here, scientists want to add broadband technology to your brain. Stay tuned for the science fiction article on this if you're a Patreon supporter. Scientists want to add broadband technology to your brain, but it's not what you think. The technology known as biphasic quasi-static brain communication will boost the body's own electronic signaling system. So the idea here is that it is electrical impulses that cause the brain to go. But what they're doing is they basically want to add electrodes and things and increase this, basically amplify the signals. So, the system will, okay, I need to think about grabbing my water bottle. Now, instead of just, I'm going to grab my water bottle, lift it up, it'll all be hyper impulsive. So, and then something like that. Like, that's kind of what they're trying to do. Basically just make things work faster. I'm not sure. I think before we make things work faster, we need to make things work smarter. Okay. This is just going to lead us to a much, much, much faster idiocracy, not anything useful in society. We will have fast-moving morons instead of just. And of course, don't forget those scientists at Purdue University. They're pursuing this. Well, that should be Purdue University. Tech Radar needs to hire a new editor, apparently, or use my affiliate link for ProWritingAid, tlm.li/PWA. So. There you go. They're trying to tap into the body's natural bandwidth in order to signal some things. That's exciting. Well, if you want to help support the channel, of course, talking about brain implants, of course, we had to talk about my science fiction novel, Synaptergy. In the book of Synaptergy, Mark woke up in a hospital room, unable to remember why he was there, but he was overshadowed by his being paralyzed. Using his robotics education and connections, he rebuilds his once functional body. In the process, the team soon discovers the cost for restorative technology. What could be the price to restore bodily functions? Mark needs to determine if he will pay that price. Synaptergy.com or tlm.li/s will land you on this page. You can read the first chapter of the book if you would like, and you can come down here and you can listen to the first 5 minutes if you like. The Where to Buy link is going to have a variety of places that I know of where you can pick the book up. So if you are interested, anywhere you buy paperbacks or ebooks or audiobooks, it will probably be listed over there. Just have a look for Synaptergy. So with that, let's head on over to your favorite place and mine. Let's head to SillyVille. And money can indeed buy you love, because Tinder is rolling out a new $500 a month if you qualify for the elite tier. Now you can quite literally search for love. The elite tier basically allows you to go in. It gives us a search function. So you'd be like, show me those hot dudes with who are bodybuilders, and it'll just give you a bunch of profiles there. So this is the Tinder Select. It's a pay-to-date tier. Will cost $500 per month or $6,000 annually. No bulk discounts found there. I mean, if you're paying $500 a month for a dating app, I don't think you're being sold on the discount. For access to unique features like exclusive search and matching. May sound ridiculous to the general public. Trust me, it does. Can't make heads or tails of it, honestly. What are they trying to do? Are they trying to reboot Ashley Madison here? I mean, I just cannot figure out what's... This may sound ridiculous to the general public, and maybe why Tinder has decided to hold off on making the new tier available to everyone just yet. Or maybe it's the fact that most people are like, $500 for a date? Vegas is down the road! Tinder's parent company, Match Group, reported the app's direct revenue raked in $475 million in the second quarter of 2023, growing about 6% year over year. However, the number of people willing to pay for Tinder subscriptions declined 4% to 10.5 million. At City Conference in early September, Match Group President Gary Swindler, Swindler would be a more hilarious name, but Gary Swidler said he thinks Tinder Select has the potential to have an impact on the company's overall revenue. Well, you find 4 or 5 morons wealthy enough to pay $500 a month for the dating app, and sure, that gives you an extra $2,000 a month. So, hey, maybe I'll do that. I'll have a select tier on SwitchedToLinux. You can pay like $200 a month. I don't know what I'll do. $500 a month. There you go. Just find 2 or 3 of you guys. I'll be set. If you want to help support the channel without paying $500 a month, we do have a locals page. If I can find my locals thing, there it is. We are over on locals, switchedtolinux.locals.com. We mentioned the fun perks of the Patreon page earlier. All those also apply to the locals page, although over there we have a little bit more ability to communicate with each other as well. Which we need to be more active over there, guys. Maybe I need to be over as well. But you can still grab all of the, the short stories over there. You can grab the audiobook versions of the short stories as well, and grab the links for joining in on the supporter shows. With that, thank you for watching, and we will see you all next time. Thank you for watching this video from SwitchedToLinux. This channel would not be possible without the backing of the program supporters scrolling on the screen now. You can be a supporter at Patreon at patreon.com/TOMM or at thinklifemedia.com. I also want to thank the open source community who creates such excellent software that makes producing this show possible. Please remember to support your software communities. Thank you, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.